everybody, today we are going to be reading Peter Pan. There was a place, a faraway place, where the sun always shone, the sky was always blue, and no one grew old. This place was called Neverland, and it was where Peter Pan and Tinker Bell lived. Not so very far away, in the city of London, lived Wendy, John, and Michael Darling. Every night they would gather in the nursery to hear Wendy tell wonderful tales of Peter Pan's adventures with friendly Indians and nasty pirates in the Neverland. One night, when Wendy was telling John and Michael a favorite Peter Pan story, Nana, their Saint Bernard, started barking outside in the yard. Not a moment later, Peter Pan appeared with Tinker Bell. "I came to find my shadow," said Peter Pan. "Nana took it from me the other night as I was secretly listening to your stories." "Oh, I do hope it isn't rumbled," said Wendy as she sewed the shadow back onto Peter's body. John and Michael looked on in amazement. "I'm so glad you came back tonight, Peter," Wendy said. "You see, tonight is my last night in the nursery because tomorrow I have to grow up." "But that means no more stories," cried Peter. "Unless I take you all back to Neverland with me." Wendy, John, and Michael couldn't believe their ears. "That would be wonderful," they shouted. Peter Pan sprinkled some of Tinker Bell's pixie dust over the children and told them to think happy thoughts. "Now you can fly," said Peter. Suddenly, they were all soaring through the skies of London, heading toward Neverland. Down below, they saw rainbows and waterfalls and mermaids singing in a lagoon. It was the most beautiful place they had ever seen. There were beaches and deep forests, and of course, there was the Indian camp. Yes, this was indeed Neverland. This way, called Peter Pan as Wendy, John, and Michael landed in one of the forests. He led them to the secret underground home where he lived with his good friends, the Lost Boys. John and Michael played with the boys while Peter and Wendy went to visit the beautiful mermaids in the lagoon. It was there that Peter Pan spied the Indian chief's daughter, Tiger Lily. The evil Captain Hook and Mr. Smee had her tied up in a boat. Peter and Wendy could overhear the pirate demanding, "Tell me the hiding place of Peter Pan." But Tiger Lily wouldn't tell. "I have to save her," Peter told Wendy. They flew off together to Skull Rock, where Captain Hook had taken Tiger Lily. There, Peter challenged Captain Hook to a thrilling duel. Peter was so quick and brave that at last the nasty pirate landed in the water, only to be chased back to his ship by a ferocious crocodile. Peter rescued Tiger Lily and returned her to her father, the Indian chief. Captain Hook was very angry. That cursed Peter plan! I shall have my revenge against him. Once and for all, he cried. He captured Tinkerbell and forced her to show him where Peter Pan lived. Then he caged her in a lantern. As Captain Hook's band of pirates approaching Peter Pan's home, the darlings and the lost boys were coming up from the underground. One by one, they were captured and taken to the pirate ship. Peter Pan will save us, Wendy said bravely. Captain Hook roared with wicked laughter. Peter Pan will never be able to save you, he shouted. You will walk the plank. No one noticed as Tinkerbell escaped from the lantern. She flew as fast as she could to alert Peter Pan. Once Tinkerbell reached Peter Pan, he raced out to sea to rescue his friends. I've come to stop you once and for all, Captain Hook, cried Peter. This time you've gone too far. After another fierce duel, Peter Pan threw Hook and all the pirates overboard. Hook was chased away by the crocodile and nobody cared to save him. The darlings thanked Peter for rescuing them. Could you tell me, sir, where we are sailing? Wendy asked. To London, Peter replied. Oh, said Wendy happily. Michael, John, we are going home. Once again, Peter Pan sprinkled Tinkerbell's pixie dust over everyone, and Captain Hook's pirate ship was suddenly sailing through the skies of Neverland, heading back to the darlings' home in London. But before Peter Pan and Tinkerbell left again for Neverland, they made Wendy, John and Michael promise never to forget them, and they never did. Bye bye. If you liked this video, hit that like button, subscribe and share this video with your friends.